They want to do it legally.
Now, Arno, you said you're also a writer for the European edition of High Times.
The Dutch edition.
The Dutch edition. What's it called?
It's so I write a column every month.
And what's the name of the column?
Make drugs, not war.
Make drugs, not war.
Yeah, because really, in a warlike situation, that I come from Holland. I grow up in a totally free environment in respect to drugs. What I see now, because Holland is becoming part of the European Union, and Holland is a small country, and the bigger countries like Germany and France, they want to have a more conservative.
U.S. like
not that bad. Not that bad, really. But in a warlike situation like that, if there's a war on drugs, more drugs should be produced. So, so like for example, in the mushroom book I wrote, I had specifically a chapter on how to cultivate mushrooms outdoors in a guerrilla-like fashion, so that you.
A guerrilla-like fashion.
Yeah. So even if the Dutch authorities get as bad as these stupid Democrats or Republicans in America that are waging this war on drugs, it's still impossible to outlaw the mushrooms because they will grow outside somewhere in the forest. And you only will harvest them. You will need so many policemen to cover the forest. It's impossible. It's impossible.
That's wonderful.
They will always grow.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. You have to do things like this. When I smoke since I'm 14. I smoke grass since or hashish since I'm 14. I use everything I want. I'm in the city. I live in Amsterdam. I can use whatever I want. Everything is available. It's all my own choice. I don't harm anybody else. So this is my freedom.
Do you think there's less violence in Amsterdam than there are?
There is absolutely less violence, man. There are not that many guns.
Oh, really?
There are not that many guns here. No, guns are not allowed here.
Don't people feel deprived not having their guns?
No, they're really happy. Like
they're happy not having a gun? Are you happy without a gun?
Why would I need a gun?
I thought everybody had to have a gun.
No, not over here.
So, when we go out to clubs, we are happy. People are searching us and searching other people for guns.
Oh yeah?
Yes, of course. No, this is almost a gun-free society. So we have much less violence. Absolutely. Of course, there's also much less money being made because of the illegal situation.
And what about your experience with ecstasy, Arno? Has that been a positive or negative, or what kind of experience?
Well, so I wrote a book on ecstasy.
You wrote a book on ecstasy. And, what's the name of the book?
Ecstasy, everything about ecstasy.
Everything about ecstasy.
Yeah. I had the luck to be in Amsterdam when the acid house subculture reached Amsterdam. This was in 1988. There was a new subculture, it was a new drug. This was ecstasy. And so I talk about the end of the 1980s. The 1980s, they were called the me decades. Everybody was only interested in themselves.
Oh yeah, the me decade, yeah.
They were sniffing coke, talking only about themselves, not listening.
Right.
And all of a sudden there was this acid house phenomenon, there was this ecstasy, and people were interested in other people, and also wanted to listen. So empathy is the effect. The effect of ecstasy, you might say, is empathy. You are interested in another person.
More sensitive.
Yes, and more love.
More love.
And so that's what it is for a long time.
But what about these reports that PET scans show that ecstasy destroys or might damage people's dopamine,
Serotonin.
yeah, something.
And yeah, okay. So
Has that been proven, or is that just a scare?
No. So it has not been proven. There are, you might say, hints in that direction. Like, yeah, it might be like this. But in fact, the only thing you can say is that something changes in your brain because you use ecstasy. And this is exactly why you take it. You take ecstasy because something changes in your brain. Well, if a change in your brain is considered as neurotoxicity, of course, then it's neurotoxic. But I want to take it because it changes my brain. It changes the way I feel. It changes the way of my perception. And to be honest, so it's 12 years ago now that I took it the first time.
Ecstasy.
Ecstasy, yes. I know many people who took it quite regularly for quite a long time. I also have to say these people are, well-grounded people. But I only see good things.
Really?
So this is anecdotal, it's not scientific evidence. But I see people who are enjoying life, who are enjoying their relationships, who are enjoying themselves. There's nothing wrong in that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
And of course, it's always possible to find certain things. You also have to say with ecstasy that it's a relatively new substance. It's different from the traditional plant psychedelics because with like the mushrooms or the ayahuasca or the peyote cactus, it's a human use history of thousands of years. So there's no long-term risk.
Right.
With a relatively new substance like MDMA or ecstasy, it's only 80 years old, and it's only being used regularly since 20-25 years. But I bet, especially in the United States, because this trend came from the United States. All new drugs are invented in the United States. It doesn't come from Europe. It always comes from the United States. Ecstasy also, it was invented in Germany in the end of the 19th century. But it became a drug in the 1960s, 70s in the United States. And then it came to Europe in the 1980s. This is how we got it. It's very interesting that all the new drugs come from the United States. Why? Because this is the country that wants to suppress all the drug use. And what's the result? Only all new drugs come from the United States.
Well, of the drugs that you're interested primarily in, which is ecstasy, magic mushrooms, and ayahuasca,
and cannabis. I'm a long-time grower of cannabis.
Oh, you are?
Yes, more than 15 years.
Really? And you recommend cannabis also for?
It is
without reservation.
I smoke almost 30 years now. So it's really actually because I stopped smoking cigarettes for the last 2 months. I don't smoke that much anymore. But I was a daily smoker for more than 25 years.
Do you think that the ayahuasca is the most interesting of all the substances that you studied, or the one that can help people the most? Would you say that?
So as a medicine, it's very, very powerful. But the cactus is also very powerful. And
you mean psilocybin or mescaline?
So the mescaline containing cacti, like peyote or the South American
right.
the achuma or the San Pedro cactus. They're also very powerful. Mushrooms too, it's a matter of how it works in a certain body.
You think all in all they have a lot of different positive effects that are totally neglected by the U.S. medical establishment,
well, so
the law enforcement?
The U.S. medical establishment for sure knows about the positive effects of the peyote cactus. Because if you look at North American Indians, who are a member of this Native American church, who use the peyote cactus as a sacrament. These members of this Native American church are more healthy than other North American Indians. Yes, it's really quite simple. But if you know, with science, it's always science on the one hand, it's about what you can prove. On the other hand, it's also who wants to pay the research. Now, what you see, like for example, this example you mentioned about the ecstasy and the possible brain damage connected with ecstasy.
Right.
There is so much funding to prove the brain damage. There's no funding at all to prove that it might be the other way around.
That makes people happy.
So there's one organization in the United States, MAPS it's called.
Yeah.
Well, they are funding that kind of research. But it's a private, you know, they're collecting money to get certain research funding.
Well, Arno, let's take a break here, and thank you so much for speaking so candidly with us. I'm sure the people in Louisville, Kentucky are glad to know that we have a real pioneer here in Amsterdam.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.